Hey, it's your old pal Lucid Stu again, and this is Stu's News, a review of American high-speed rail happenings over the past month. In this November 2024 episode, we'll take a look at what went down in October. Starting with the NEC and the biggest news of the month, Amtrak, MTA, and NJ Transit announced the completion of their study into doubling capacity at New York Penn Station within its current footprint. This Manhattan train station sits on the NEC and is the busiest in the country. The involved agencies looked at 4 different possible alternatives. The verdict: it's not reasonably possible. That means the next step will be studying expanding the footprint of the station. This aligns with the previous Gateway program's goal of creating a Penn Station South next to the existing station. However, if one observes a map included in the outlined next steps, it appears that the area directly to the north of the current station will be up for consideration as well. Further south, Amtrak broke ground on a new heavy maintenance facility near Philadelphia 30th Street Station. This new maintenance facility will be important in helping to maintain large incoming fleet replacements, including the new Acela 2s. Completion is expected in 2027. Moving even further south, Amtrak's Office of the Inspector General released a report concluding that early staffing for the $6 billion Frederick Douglass Tunnel project through Baltimore was inadequate. This has led to a race against time to address management structure shortcomings before major construction starts. While Amtrak is addressing the problem, the OIG notes that the situation increases the, quote, risk of cost overruns and additional delays. Now let's quickly run through the NEC Amtrak numbers. Keep in mind these run 2 months behind. Revenue and operating earnings bouncing back from a July dip, with Northeast Regional Services leading the charge. Year over year, a strong improvement, up 16% and 353% on revenue and earnings respectively. Amtrak NEC ridership for the fiscal year also topped 12.7 million trips in August. That is a new record, besting 2019 with its pre-COVID total of 12.5 million trips. Revenue also looks like a shoe-in for a new record through September, the last month of the fiscal year. However, earnings are still way behind 2019, when Amtrak overall nearly turned an operating profit. That's enough NEC news, but sticking to the neighborhood, let's see what's happening with the Keystone Corridor. Amtrak announced that track renewal work between Lancaster and Harrisburg in Pennsylvania is 95% complete and ahead of schedule. There's a phrase you don't hear much in this sphere. How about a big hand for the crews working hard out on the Harrisburg line?
Get her done.
Having done plenty of blue-collar work myself, I know that occasionally a pat on the back is a nice to have, as the white-collar folk might say. The main gist of that project was swapping wooden ties for concrete and replacing 43 track miles of rail. That work is expected to be wrapped up completely in December of this year, 2024. Nearby, between Philadelphia and Paoli, Amtrak is advancing a plan to upgrade electrical systems along an 18-mile stretch of Keystone. This nearly amounts to a whole system replacement consisting of new substations, transmission lines, and overhead catenary. Completion for that is a tentative 2035. The 2 projects combined should contribute to a good state of repair on the Keystone Corridor between Philadelphia and Harrisburg for decades to come. Still on the East Coast, let's continue to move south, checking in with Brightline in Florida once again. The Stuart, Florida saga continues to continue. As mentioned last month, in September, Stuart City Commissioners shot down a proposed Brightline station in the city. This was a collaboration between Brightline, the city of Stuart, and Martin County. After a bout of remorse, the city brought Brightline back to the negotiating table, only for the project to be shot down by the city commission again. Martin County commissioners, fed up with the nonsense, are now taking the initiative by offering land that the county owns in and around the city of Stuart without the city's involvement. all while the specter of the option of Fort Pierce to the north as an alternate site looms large over Stuart. What will happen next? Keep tuning in to Stu's News to find out. Also worth mentioning, Brightline's 5 new passenger cars have been spotted in service. We'll have to wait until next month to see how those impacted ridership. Sticking with Brightline, but this time of the West variety, a light news month, Brightline West pre-construction work continues, restarting in Nevada. Nevada work is mostly geotechnical boring to get a better sense of underground conditions. California work is mostly potholing, which is a means of precisely locating utilities. As noted last month, Brightline West is currently looking to start heavy construction in 2025. Moving on quickly to California High Speed Rail, officials unveiled an operating lower level of the Salesforce Transit Center in San Francisco. Well, they unveiled a picture of it on the sidewalk anyway. That's apparently the best you're going to get in terms of California High Speed Rail in San Francisco for the next several decades. In more concrete news, Representative Nancy Pelosi herself announced $25 million in Chrissy grants for the downtown extension project that would bring that sidewalk picture partially into reality via a 2-mile tunnel from the existing 4th and King station. That is projected to cost $8 billion and funding is $3 billion short, so I guess every penny counts. Since we're done with California High Speed Rail and I've mentioned grants, let's check out the federal action for the month. The FRA announced 2024's Chrissy grants. Intercity passenger rail projects got $218 million out of $2.47 billion available. 25 of that went to the previously mentioned San Francisco DTX. $37 million goes to the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for track reconfiguration in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is part of planned east-west rail service connecting Albany, New York, and Boston. That is technically in the northern New England high-speed rail corridor, but will remain conventional rail for the foreseeable future. The big award went to the city of Springfield, Illinois, which received $157 million after being snubbed last year for a similar grant. That is meant to reshape how rail runs through the city in a big way, and as part of the Chicago Hub network will be used by Amtrak's 110-mile-per-hour conventional rail services along the route. The Illinois High-Speed Rail Commission is also studying route upgrades between Chicago and St. Louis, so this work could factor into future faster routes as well. No true high-speed rail Chrissy grants this year. The next round of grants will likely drop next month, the Federal-State Partnership for Intercity Passenger Rail NEC grants. Tune in to Stu's News next month for more on that. Of course, the other big federal news is the 2024 election. I thought it would be good to put together an intercity passenger rail primer, so let's go. Kamala Harris, of course, vice president during Amtrak Joe Biden's administration. However, now we don't talk about him. That one guy's administration saw a $66 billion investment in passenger rail over 5 years under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which became law in 2021. Vice President Harris from California has been a California high-speed rail supporter, especially during her time in the Senate. She is credited by the Reason Foundation, no less, with hounding the Trump administration into helping fund Caltrain electrification between San Jose and San Francisco. More generally, the Democratic Party has been a consistent supporter of intercity passenger rail and high-speed rail over the past 60 years. Donald Trump, recently quoted as being a high-speed rail fan, arguably a fervent opponent of California high-speed rail, but it looks like that might be part of his petty tit-for-tat with California Governor Gavin Newsom, more than a general distaste for passenger rail. The Trump administration was not exactly a passenger rail or transit booster, but not as bad as one might imagine. In 2019, during the Trump administration, Amtrak had one of its best performing years on record. High Speed Rail, however, was not a priority, and none of the existing projects made significant advancements during his presidency. Republicans historically have aimed to trim intercity passenger rail rather than grow it. Polls are tight. The race is a toss-up at this point, with Trump having the slightest of polling advantages. It could be another election where we're not totally sure who won right away. The House of Representatives, the race has shifted slightly since Kamala Harris replaced that one guy at the top of the Democratic ticket. Republicans keeping the speakership was looking solid. Now it's about 50-50. More important for the subject of high-speed rail is the Senate. It appears the Republicans are going to regain control with 51 or 52 seats. That's going to make passing legislation difficult even if Democrats take the House and the presidency. Now that I've bored you with the foray into politics, let's get back to trains with Texas Central and Dallas-Fort Worth HST. The Dallas City Council approved funding for an economic feasibility study looking at how Dallas might benefit from proposed high-speed rail projects. If you've been watching your Stews news, you know this has been talked about since March, and for some reason it took them 7 months to follow through, but whatever. That is expected to be done in early 2025. Until it's done, planning of DFW HST in particular will be hindered. Just a touch of Texas news there, and now it's time for Stu's Boo Boos, where I go over everything I missed or got wrong last month. Regarding the Stuart saga, I classified the Stuart City Commission vote against a Brightline station there as, quote, mysterious. However, thanks to ace reporter Daniel Schramm, who dared to stay awake through an entire Stuart City Commission meeting, we can say confidently that Stuart's dissent was mainly about opposing development. Events this month tend to confirm that, with the no vote even after Brightline alleviated monetary concerns. I was so impressed by this dedication, and frankly embarrassed I didn't properly follow through, that I'm awarding this boo-boo 2 gold stars. That brings the boo-boo spotting gold star total to 14. Silver stars for a boo-boo free month, 5. As always, if you find a boo-boo in this presentation, let me know in the comments. If it's a good one, you win a prize. Special thanks to the Lucid Group Discord channel. If you'd like to join our motley crew, check out the invite in the description. Plenty more videos to come. Right now, I'm working on the first of 2 videos about the Southeast High-Speed Rail Corridor, covering Virginia, Georgia, and the Carolinas. That should be ready sooner than later. But that's all for now. Until next time, I'll see you on that big beautiful freeway.